host, Deb McMahon, and today he has a very special announcement. What's that, Deb?
That's right, Vampa. We're introducing the Punisher's Clearinghouse Sweepstakes.
Oh, what's that?
What that is one lucky viewer will have us come to their house, punish them severely by beating them, and then we'll clear you out of all your valuables and money, and that's what you win.
Wow, Deb, that sounds great. Thanks a lot. You also might have noticed it looks a little different around here, and that's because we were shooting a scene for my next short, Delusional. But I can't help but be reminded of a time about a week ago that I had some filmmaker friends here, and we had a very interesting conversation about their films. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. And I know it's hard to get down into hell. We're at the 4th level, so you had to kind of go through those first 3 crappy ones till you got to this really cool level of Spindrifts and Hoarders, where we keep all our cool collectibles.
Jesus has got nothing to do with this place.
No,
Since it's the day after Halloween, we have to throw some Halloween stuff in, right?
Of course. Yeah.
And we're glad to be here on the day after
Yes.
Halloween.
Very much. Thank you for having
She's
us.
got a cool Janice Click shirt on.
Janice
Represent Janice Click and the films they're doing out there. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. I'd like to give them a shout out.
Awesome. I'll have to look them up. Never heard of this.
He's did the McMurderer movie.
Okay.
He did McWolfen, but his newest film is Squatch Junkies, which friends of Dennis Wilson on Rebecca and I's newest album. We have a song in the movie, and it just came out. It just came in the mail yesterday. And then he has Squatch Junkies, but he did Fish Piss is his last movie, and it's actually really awesome. And it's all SOV. And see how I am and see how we are right when we get out of the show, we start promoting other people's products. That's the way we gotta be, because your peers, they mean everything to you.
That's true.
The films don't get discussed, or you don't have anything to measure it to. You have nothing. And if you're only in your basement, with your grandma watching your film, that's cool. But you gotta get it out there. But he's doing SOV stuff, but he's doing a lot of it's almost like a DJ. He was explaining it to me. He has like a fader and a laptop. He catches laptops on fire for doing it too. But they have magnets in these laptops. If Steve, if I'm saying any of this wrong, anybody else who's watching the show, but we got to turn the kids onto the new stuff, right? But anyways, he's not just shooting on SOV, so he's dumping it down to where he'll have 2 tracks or whatever, and then he'll blend those 2 tracks, and he'll put a magnet on the laptop, and so so it's almost like a DJ, crossfading. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and these laptops catch on fire. It's real dangerous. They get super hot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then in Fish Piss, because you watched it the other day, but you watched it when it came out, but about the colors though in the movie, isn't it crazy? The magenta, they're getting all that from doing that with the magnet and what he's doing there with the fader there or whatever, crossfading, doing that. I like to use that word, but yeah. So when he told me that, I was like, "You're a fucking artist, dude."
Yeah, that's interesting. I love that.
Yeah,
Avant-garde.
Yeah. So those are cool cats. They were just down here in Motor City Legacy. Shout out to Tracy too. And but yeah, Janice Click, they're really, really good people. And he just got Director of the Month in Lunch Meat Microwaved, which I was in. I got Director of the Month in July, and I'm so proud of myself. But I told the guys, and I'm not embarrassed to do that, because it is the guys and the girls too. Yeah. But it's the gang. So anyways, on the gang, I was talking to Ted Gilbert, shout out to him at Lunch Meat. I was talking to him, and I go, yo, he didn't even ask me, and I'm not trying to, get credit for shouting on my homies, but, like I said, the peers are important. So I said, Ted, I said, Janice Click, or Addison Bannock, who did Psycho, and I said, these are all good directors that should get, Director of the Month, or get their work exposed. So I feel that's really important for fellow people like yourself. You're a filmmaker.
I try.
Yeah, to get your stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, I met you guys when Let Us In came out, and I first heard about that film, and started talking to you about films, and it was about a year ago that we all met up at UFO Factory and saw the premiere of that. That was a really fun night. And
Thanks.
watching this movie with like the audience, that was like, that's the way to. I mean, honestly, I think that's like the way to watch a lot of movies
Isn't
is
it?
with a group of people. But like watching, the type of movie this one was exceptionally great with an audience.
Oh, I'm so proud.
It was fun. It was a
Yeah.
fun night, yeah.
And then the barf bags too. I love that. That harkens back to William Castle and his gimmicks, and he's a big influence on Vampa as well. So yeah. I just wanted to like give you guys that compliment real quick.
Thank you.
I
Thank
do
you.
love that movie. and
Very
that was
proud
a
of
really
it.
fun night.
Thank you.
Very proud of
So
it.
tell me about IAP, Independent American Pictures. Tell me about the beginnings of it. How'd you guys get started with that?
What was I gonna say? I like that you're saying AIP because that's where it came from. It came from Roger Corman and Al Adamson. They all had back in the '60s. They all had film companies, and those guys were all mavericks. Biker films were the new westerns in the '60s. Wild Angels was like the first one, starring Peter Fonda, and Roger Corman had IAP Pictures, which is American Independent International or whatever. You know what I mean? I know what it is, but I'm just saying I love its documentary too and everything. But anyway, so he has AIP. So we wanted to pay homage. We dig the logo too. We're all about logos, kids. So remember,
Those are fun.
yeah, you got your skateboard company or whatever. You got to have the flyest shit. You got to have the coolest stuff, and that's what we really care about with our movies too. Hence, we're doing movies. It's a visual thing, and so that's what we wanted you to do is shout out AIP before you shout out independent. So, and it has nothing to do. We were all tripping out, and I have to bring it up, and I don't want to get on touchy shit, but I do want to get on touchy shit because that's always fun. I was gonna say, but yeah, it kind of sounded like a Trump. Yeah, let's do it. It sounded like the Trump thing. You know what I mean? Like independent American.
Oh yeah.
And so when we first started it, we're not going to say once again, kids, I am Lux Interior, this is Poison Ivy. You are listening to The Cramps, and we are here with Vampa. And we are on MTV, Vampa's MTV, Dungeon. And we're talking about our next album. So anyways, yeah, there was this president at the time, and we already had
I remember something about that.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I forgot all about him. I remember his hair. But no, I don't even want to say that because like a lot of our fans, no, straight up on that, a lot of our fans like might have a certain political affiliation, and that's what we're joking around about is that it has nothing to do with film. Film's a fun thing, and so what happened was we had Independent American before that because we were paying homage to them because what they were doing was taking their films and exporting them out to, like in England and shit like that, like Hammer Films, just like they were taking Hammer Films, exporting them here. So, and then so anyway, so yeah, that's where we had that. And so Rebecca started and I started that in 2014.
So you guys been going for almost 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Everything that you guys have accomplished in those 10 years. You guys should be very proud of yourself. I know you are. So, and you were telling me earlier, and we talked a lot about this before we got started in the interview, about your guys' relationship with VHS and the beginnings of IAP.
Talk about that, Beck.
What about our VHS?
Just the whole thing and like how we started doing it and the tangible media and like the whole punk rock aesthetic behind it and like
well, we started
us going to
collecting
VHS. Talk about that.
like when we first.
How was like record collecting? Talk about how we
just
go to these VHS stores.
Yeah, when they were still around, when Blockbuster was still around and the independent ones, we would go because they would sell their media and it was just a thing just to go around. And then they started closing, and we were like just on a quest to like just pick up as much as we can.
But not to interrupt you, with our Blockbuster accounts, we always had late fees.
Oh yeah.
So kids,
course.
I don't know if you remember that, but
Of
you'd have like a $90 late fee at a video store, so you'd have to go to another video store, but you'd have to get your girlfriend, because they'd run your card because you were already at that video store because you've been banned at every video store. So no, really, I didn't want.
We had multiple accounts everywhere.
Of course, yeah.
Not just because we had
yeah,
a balance.
but
but
once they started selling them, though, tell them about how we just fucking hit it.
That's what we did. We'd go around. We'd pick Tony up from work, and we'd just go to the video store there, and then this one there, and they just started closing. We just started cleaning up. So we've had videotapes come and gone, come and go throughout the years. So we have a pretty good collection now. So
So what is it about VHS, you think? I mean, even
Yeah,
if
what is it about
I mean, it's the
VHS? Good question.
tangible media, yes. But
Yeah.
what about VHS over Blu-ray or
Hmm.
DVD?
Just speaking for me personally,
Yeah, of
this
course.
goes to the record thing, and I think this touches on Rebecca, like, because Rebecca's always been in VHS, and we met, like, we connected on that, but we're both into music. We do music together too and stuff, and like, excuse me, she, when you like record covers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that whole cover, they just got such a cool visual aesthetic. You know, like when you're younger and you see like, fucking, I know a lot of kids weren't exposed like I was to certain records, so, because my parents had a cool store, but like, you know, you'd see Black Flag Slip It In or Loose Nut or something, you know what I mean? And you're just like, what the fuck? Or like more so, like, I wasn't way big into metal when I was younger, but I'm a big metal guy, but like, you know, I wasn't way into Ozzy back in the day, but like, you'd see records, excuse me, like Bark of the Moon or something, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, and you're like, yeah, you know, isn't that a cool cover?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you know, or like Satanic Majesty's Request. So, these movie covers, man, they just meant everything. But when you say
Oh yeah,
When
that's,
you-
I mean, it was just like, you know, the tangible box, you know.
Blue Sunshine.
Walking in into, you know, a store and seeing, I Spit on Your Grave. You're like, what's that? You know, and you're, you know, 10 years old or whatever, you know. So
and
yeah.
name some of them, like, really though, like, and I hate to put you on the spot, but like, and if you can't think of one offhand, and just even cut in, like, if I, but like you said, I Spit on Your Grave, but like, let's go through on some of them. Okay, like, Silent Night, Deadly Night, you know, the thing coming out of the axe with the big box where it's coming out, the hand on the chimney with the axe. But then part 2 where it's got the fucking gun at the, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And the
those are
Christmas
both good
ball.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one that I never saw this movie, but I always used
Which
to
one?
see this
Which
when
one?
I was a kid at the video store. It was April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
With the girl
Oh.
with the noose hair.
Dude, that
She's got the
movie,
knife. Yeah.
that's Ginny from, she's, listen to this though, that's one of my favorite directors, by the way. Shout out, that's what I love the most too, about like, where you get your roots from. Fred fucking Walton. Rosary Murders. He did April Fool's Day.
Really?
He did, he's a legend. He did,
So this is a good movie. I should check this out.
oh,
Does
listen to
the
this,
movie
listen to this.
live up to the cover?
Oh, listen to this. So Fred Walton.
April Fool's Day?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
That
so-
and Rosary, we gotta
Yeah.
watch Rosary
Oh,
Murders.
oh.
That's Detroit.
Oh.
That's a Detroit movie.
really?
Yeah, Jack
Awesome.
White. That Jack White was in that in the '80s. He was the altar boy. Dig this. Okay, so Fred Walton did. He's famous for it. He did When a Stranger Calls and When a Stranger Calls Back. That's him. And so he did that like the first 15 minutes. And the thing was, he's famous because he put that in theaters for 15 minutes. And then like you could get like nominated for an Oscar if it was like played in the theater. And what happened was since it played in the theater, he was only trying to get an Oscar. People freaked out when they saw that, so they gave him the money to do the rest of the movie, right? Well, Fred Walton did April Fool's Day, but dig this. So I went to Cancun, Mexico, and they told you not to go swimming on one side of the fucking island. And my dad and I went swimming on that side of the island. I swear to God, that's the closest I've ever come to death. My dad and I got sucked way out of the ocean into the coral reef, and it was like one of those ones where it was like, goodbye, Tony, you know what I mean? And so like he just launched me off his shoulders, and like he just got dragged into coral reef. I got all cut up. I get him to the shore, like, oh, and then he comes in the shore. Oh, no joke, man. We were so far out there. Like when you don't see shore like that, and you're in the middle of the ocean, and you're getting sucked like that, and you had never felt a current like that, and you're like, well, damn, like, you know, this is the end. But anyway, so we get in there. We were so fucking bloody and everything. Well, we already had to pay for a jet ski snorkel thing. Well, they wouldn't let me in the water because I was all cut up from the coral reef. So I had to stay in Cancun with my grandma, and we watched in Cancun. They had all Mexican movies. Well, they had April Fool's Day, and it wasn't Mexican. It was in English. So we watched it, and that movie, like, not to give it away, that movie is an awesome horror movie. That's Ginny from Friday the 13th Part 2. I believe, yes, Friday the 13th Part 2. I have her autograph. Rebecca's met her. Isn't she cool too? She's really cool. But anyways, that movie, at the end, it's like, the famous line is, ha, ha, ha. You know, like it's all a joke in the movie, the whole thing. All our friends come back, they never died. They like hired these people to make it all. Because like right when they're like, she invites all our friends to the island, they get there, and like the dude who like is one of the island guy who's like doing the ferry falls in between the boat and gets his head crushed. And they're like, well, we don't want to go to the island now. And they're like, no, just go, we'll take him to the hospital. That guy like comes back, he's like, oh, I'm here. But anyways, the movie is really cool. Well, people freaked out that it wasn't real, so they didn't consider it a horror movie. But yeah, April Fool's is dope.
Yeah.
And Fred Walton's dope. And Rosary Murders is a big thing because it was filmed. What's the church back?
That's Holy Redeemer.
Yeah, tell them real quick about Rosary Murders and why it's famous. We got lots
Donald
of people.
Sutherland's in it. It's great. You know,
It's filmed in
Southwest
Southwest.
Detroit, off Werner, Werner Highway. It's just really old school, so it's just a cool movie. I think it's like kind of underrated. So one to definitely check out.
Yeah, my parents, when they were getting a divorce, we went to the drive-in in Grand River. Do you guys are familiar with that drive-in? That's famous drive-in, the one that's on like the border of Farmington and not Inkster, but either way, there's a Bates over there too. That's the famous one where that drive-in is where Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi went to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that changed the game forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and we got a whole thing with Evil Dead and Sam Raimi. We have a connection, which we can touch on later. But talk to me. What's up? What do we got next?
Yeah.
Keep them rolling.
Well, let's talk about Let Us In.
Let Us In.
So I think one of the crowning achievements of this movie
Is that we made $10 million.
You know,
What do we do with
in
that
a
one?
world where more increasingly you see CGI effects, and especially with that CGI blood, I cannot stand the way that looks.
Oh.
You have all practical effects going on here, done by James Bell, the very talented James Bell.
Kids, hire him on your movie.
Yeah, talk to me about that. What are some experiences that you would have with James and some of these gruesome, grisly effects here that he's worked on?
Tell me how you brought James on. That was your deal. How did you find James?
We have a connection to James through the Cat's Meow, through my aunt's store, but we also, Rebecca and I do the Haunted Garage Sale with him. And so he did practical effects, and like you said, the CGI blood looks so bad. We were talking about our first film is Strong Arm, and we mentioned Combat Shock. And I was like thinking of the title, and he like yelled out, I was like, Combat Shock, he's smoking a cigarette. And I was like, I love that fucking dude, he knows Combat Shock. That's what it started with. But anyways, you gotta earn James's, you gotta earn it with him. And I like that. You gotta be able to come through on what you wanna do. And, you gotta have your vision, and he's real serious. But what I like about James, and I like working with the practical effect thing, is that it looks like more realistic. I feel like with the CGI thing, like everybody has their theories, but I just think because you know that it's not real going into it, and then all of a sudden you see like a computer generated thing, I feel it takes out, especially with what we're doing. Rebecca was talking about this the other night. I think you're going to be surprised that I'm bringing this up. But about the how we have a serious tone in our movies and in our life and everything.
It's a little campy, but yeah, we'd like to keep it a little more serious.
And so the CGI, I think how we don't like to be have our shit taken out of our story and someone being like, oh, it's not serious. There's a whole serious, even though we I won't say we have campy stuff in our movie, but I'm saying like other horror movies have like a campy element. I don't think we do, so it's real serious. And I feel like if you saw CGI in our movie, you'd be like, that just doesn't, you know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
It's not something we wanted to do at all. That was not even on the table.
Yeah.
So we met James, at the Haunted Garage Sale, and he sells like his body parts, like he packages them up, and he's got like little baby feet, and he uses people like his Frankenstein. So, he's got all these, ears and heads and whatever. So
He has a lot of genitals too.
yeah, that's yes, he does. Yes,
I like you. You have the edgy thing.
So
into
he
that
does.
too.
He loves that.
I've worked indirectly with him. I've been to his house, so I saw.
So you better
All All right, we're back. We had some gremlins there we had to take care of, but that's nothing that...
No, it was that dude in the back's fault, and fuck him. I mean, I'm glad he's out of the fucking building, because you're not going on this interview unless... I'm glad you let me leave. It's cool.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. We had to kick him out. So we were talking... Before we had that unfortunate event here, we were talking about the practical effects in medicine, and you guys working with the very talented James Bell.
Yes, we met him at what is it, Motor City Nightmares? We vend our
Haunted garage
stuff.
sale.
Yeah, haunted garage sale. It's a haunted garage sale, so he sells his stuff there, and that's how we met. He and his wife May, and so
Shout out to May.
Tony just got in touch with them and told them about our idea, and he came on board, and he casted bodies, he casted heads, and he was on set to do the gruesome blood work, and brought his own brand of blood, and it was awesome. It was, really cool to work with.
He makes his own like special recipe of blood.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And
It's
I
a
highly
secret
recommend to buy it too, like for your films.
Yes. He's it's a secret recipe, but yes, it's his own special cherry.
Susan Capostasi. Well, I'll name names. Some people won't, but I will. We were just talking about Susan. We'll talk some about it on camera. Susan kept asking me, like, who's the fucking blood you're using? What's he using?
Yeah.
He's not going to tell you. But buy it. You can buy it from him. That's a good thing. Money makes the world go round, so you can buy it from him.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's expensive, though. It's worth it. You know what I mean? Because you can get bigger jugs of, like, lesser stuff. But the real good stuff, it's like, it's pretty expensive.
Definitely not like the corn syrup mixture.
And that stuff can work good because Rebecca did all the corn syrup stuff for
that
sure.
stuff is like it's sticky once it dries. It's like you just not.
So this isn't as like sticky and thick and.
No.
Okay.
It's not. It's just a special blend of like I don't even know cherries. That's what I remember.
Yeah, cherry and then chalk.
Yeah.
And it looks real.
Wow, that's really cool. So another thing that I really liked about the film myself, and I'm assuming other people who see it too, are the locations. It's all in Detroit. Very obviously, if you're from Detroit, you're gonna recognize that it is. Tell me something about some of the places that you guys shot.
So
the house.
we were in Chicago, Rebecca and I, at this analog theater. This guy Joe Strawberg, he is a director for Netflix. He did Drinking Buddies, like a hit series, but he was also the actor in the horror film You're Next. So anyways, we were in, he brought us to Chicago for a sold out screening, okay? And so we're there and they had a Q&A after, okay? And everybody was like freaking out about the apocalyptic lawlessness look in Let Us In. And so they're asking us questions there. And Rebecca and I told the audience the same thing we'll say here. Excuse me. There is a true crime guy from Detroit. His name's Al Prophet, and he's one of the biggest true crime guys on the internet. And like 2 weeks before we went to Chicago, I'm listening to his shit about like YBI or whatever, and he said that the address where we filmed, that's Rob, the guy with the afro, and the Afro biker, and Let Us In. That's where we filmed. That's my friend Rob's house, Rebecca's friend.
Okay.
Rebecca's known him for like longer than 20 years than we were married, but that's Rob's house where we filmed. Well, anyways, that address, he named our address as being the worst area in Detroit from 1981 to 1998.
Wow.
And then now he said that address right now is the most blown out area in lawlessness area of Detroit. And so, we had some crazy experiences shooting down there.
Yeah.
Like, I had to put my hands on a motherfucker down there.
Damn.
Yeah, like I can't really get into it on camera because I don't want to talk, kids. But like, no joke. Yeah, I stepped to Rebecca down there, and I was with like a whole crew of people, and
was it just like
some guy pulled up in a car, and
shit.
whatever. We I had to take him out, and needless to say, we put him back in his car and made him get on his way.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of that. Like, there should never have to ever get to any violent situations ever, especially in this day and age. Like, everything can be worked out. But take this, like, in this scene where it looks like No Country for Old Men, when Hans is walking there's those like silos, and then there's a big sailboat in the middle of the like the road, and it has like an SS like Nazi looking thing, and it says no trespassing with like Nazi SS bolts. And then when we were filming there, a guy came out with a gun and said, I'm gonna shoot you guys. And I was like, well, I have a gun too, but I'm not shooting people, I'm shooting a movie. You know? So it wasn't like that nonstop too. The
So was
gangsters, the
that guy's,
homies too. There was homies
I just
all
think
over.
people
Boat out there, like that was that guy's boat. Like,
No,
No, it's just like in the middle there. They're just people were very like just wondering like what are you doing here? Because no one comes around here.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
desolate.
Yeah.
You know, like some blocks would be like one house on the block,
Mhm.
and it's just prairie, I guess, is what you call it, or open
Yeah.
fields, and well kept, well maintained. It's just there's nothing around. It used to be where the old Thornapple Valley used to be.
Mhm.
Over there. It's called Core City now. Right off of Moran and 24th Street, like right in that whole area we did, and we just had free reign, and it was it was a lot of fun. But yes, the neighbors were like, "What are you guys? Who are you? And what are you doing? And
Yeah.
how long are you gonna be here?" And so on. But people were cool. They just wanted to know what was going on, what we were doing, and we were able to do that. And
And keep in mind what she's saying is all like the first couple days. This was a long shoot. After that, we had run to that neighborhood, like she said.
yeah, it was
They
like
were
we had
cool
no
as shit
problem,
after
yeah.
that.
We
Then
shot,
we had like hardcore gangsters pulling up on us like, hey man, do you guys need anything? We're gonna pull behind you and make sure nothing happens to you this entire night. And like
Very security.
yeah, and we're gonna go
Awesome.
move. We're gonna make sure these people move these 5 cars, and so this block looks desolate for you. And we're like,
Whoa.
Yeah, it was
Thanks.
just, once they got to know who we were and stuff, so it was very, it was very
That's cool to
welcoming.
get the support of the
Yeah, it was
of
cool.
even the small community.
Yes.
and we paid them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we gave them money. We walked around and
we're,
handed 20 bills
we're in their
down bills
neighborhood,
out.
it's
Yeah.
just, we're in their neighborhood. We're in, we're not there. They're like, what's going on? Everybody looks out for each other, so.
Mhm.
But it was very cool. We shot all hours of the night and day, and, so it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
Lot of
You know.
fun, lot of
It seemed
fun,
like it
lot
was
of
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
We brought money to the community. We only bought food, nothing from out of that zone. We bought all our food there, all of the beer there, all of our water, everything. And yeah, we were handing money out to people left and right in the very beginning, like nothing big, but just like, hey, can we use this parking spot? Here's $20, here's $50, blah blah. And yeah, man, like everybody was cool as hell there. I mean, could you just there's a lot of bodies. That's where a lot of bodies get dumped in dogs. Pit bulls after they fight.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, could little Timmy walk down there, in the middle of the night? No.
Yeah.
But what's cool? Everybody's cool, and when you have a beautiful woman, it's kryptonite.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can go anywhere with a beautiful woman. So when I got Rebecca, I can go anywhere.
Yeah. People really like the feminine charms that gets them, that softens them up.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did you shoot this during the lockdown? Was
Yeah.
that during 2020?
Yeah.
But it's always that desolate there. That wasn't just because
No.
of the
No,
lockdown.
it's desolate there.
Oh,
We said
okay.
like one or two houses on a block, and then they're like, it's like down the street. But it is what it is. It's up and coming, so
Yeah.
that area, properties are being sold, so it's not gonna always look like that. It's gonna change. It's gonna change again. So,
Yeah.
and that's what we like to do too. We did that with
Document that.
Yeah, we like to
Exactly.
document the change before it happens. We did that with Strong Arm.
Yeah.
The first film we shot like down in the cast corridor. It doesn't look like that
so
anymore.
different than how much.
So
Yeah.
it's like those buildings aren't there anymore if you see. So we like doing that too. Just documenting Detroit and what it looks like, the change that's going on. There's a lot of changes going on. So yeah, it's not going to look like that probably in 10 years.
Totally.
So.
It's cool. It's cool that you got that, and that is like a reality of how that place in Detroit is now, and how other places in Detroit are and have been. As everything is kind of changing.
Mhm.
But also the thing that I really like about it is like coming out of the pandemic and knowing you made it during that time. That and obviously this is a pandemic anxiety film, but like that really. I rewatched it today to prepare.
Oh,
And-
cool. I'm glad you watched. It's a fast 62-minute
Yeah.
watch. I'm glad you watched.
And
it.
it's
Cool.
like, watching that being now at a point in the pandemic or endemic where everything is open, we're all doing like, pretty much how we used to, things are packed again, and seeing that and being like, wow, yeah, just a few years ago we were all inside.
Yeah.
It was desolate. It looked like that, like everywhere. You go to the store and there barely be any cars on the road. And another little interesting thing that you guys like documented, that feeling of like, wow, we've been driving around for hours and you barely even saw anyone. You know, just
the desolation, the alone, you know, the feeling of being alone, and you know, not a lot of people around. Yeah, it was perfect area for that. You know, so.
Yeah.
And we had to, you know, Rebecca and I released Strong Arm 2019, December 7th. And then the pandemic kicked off, I think, like late March, April of 2020. So all of the film fests that end up accepting Strong Arm, we couldn't go to. Everything got canceled. Motor City Nightmares got canceled, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
we didn't promote that at all.
Yeah.
Strong Arm, so we were just like, what were we gonna do? We sat around. You know, we had COVID and all that stuff. You know, it didn't work, nothing. So we, you know, we started working on. I don't know how we just started working on Let Us In. Let's, you know,
right into it.
Yeah. So yeah, we did it, and then we released it last year in December, actually. So.
Yeah, and yeah, man, I really credit Rebecca with that because tenacity is everything. And yeah, instead of folding your cards during that, and then also too, like, you know, a lot of people told us, like some producers told us, we're like, oh, you can't do a movie about the pandemic because nobody's really gonna want to like think about that now that it's over with or whatever. But I was like, fuck that, because like, look at after the Manson thing, how many movies? Last House on the Left, you know what I'm saying? You know, House on Dead End Street, how many times that has been exploited over and over, the invasion.
It's not obvious that that's what you guys are doing with this. So
yeah,
I think that works even better. And it's like
neither are the zombies either. Infected people.
Yeah, and it's like you're kind of blending a lot of subgenres here because you got the home invasion, you got the new one of pandemic paranoia or like I guess anxiety, and then also like undead or zombie.
Biker thing too.
Yeah. So it's like you got all this stuff together. It makes a pretty unique experience.
It's our world. It's our world.
Yeah, and I like that it's not really, especially being just a few years out of the pandemic. You watch it, it just kind of gives you the memory of how it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really does.
To set the like tone and the suspense of what's eventually going to happen, especially the beginning and what eventually happens. You know. What else did I want to ask about the making of the movie? What can you do? Like, tell me, I guess, your most challenging thing about the making the film. I mean that from beginning to end, writing to editing.
Fucking, oh man, people.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's always, you know, a give and take working with others, you know, so that was probably a challenge, you know, just, you know, who you're going to work with or whatever. I think it went pretty well though. I think every shoot went really well. We never had really any problems.
It was awesome.
So,
that was the most fun I've ever had. You know, let me, I'm dead. That was a joke. And so dig this. Rebecca and I, like, our cat died after, right, like, the last week of filming, and like all this other stuff happened, okay, and like stuff other people would just like fucking like kill themselves over. I'm not kidding. And you know, like the $3,000 like our transmission went in our truck, which like that was like a spook thing for that to like even happen because like it was just a weird thing. But listen to this. So like all this stuff's happening after this, and I swear to God, as God is my witness. This is like in November, right when we got done shooting, and like we had just put the cat down the next day, and like so I mean we were just tired. These are like all 24-hour shoots. We were leaving at 5 a.m. Then Rebecca and I were the ones you know, putting all the equipment back in the thing, and the equipment in the house. Long story short, because we were all in Detroit, and then Rebecca and I had to trek another like 45 minutes out. You know what I mean? So what happened was we were sitting there. And like beaten up, tired, blah blah blah, and we said at the same time. I go, I go, man, I wish, and she said that at the same time and just goes, we both said, I wish we were on the movie set again, and that was the best experience ever of our life. And that was the best thing, working with those people. The cinematographer wasn't awesome, working with Mark.
Yes.
And and so dig this, that was the best experience I've ever had in my life, period, doing anything. So.
Is that the first time you worked with a cinematographer?
Oh, no, because, I went to school for this too. So,
Yeah.
like, I went to school at Marquette University, Milwaukee, private Catholic school. I went with Dwayne Wade, we were in the Final Four, blah, blah. But anyways, I did, like, famous directors from, like, the guy who did Car Wash, went there and stuff. The movie Bottle Rocket and all that and stuff, and Rushmore, whatever the guys went there. So I was doing studio stuff out there. I mean, I started on the old, like, at Sullivan cameras that you, like, sit on and shit. But here's the thing, though. So what I'm getting at, though, is with this movie, man, it was just awesome working with Tim Jenkins. Everything we did was real. So Tim had to saw through the door.
Yeah.
And that was just so real. Like, we have footage of, like, when that was going on. It, like, all the looks on their faces were the looks on us when they, like, saw through the door,
Yeah.
And so, like, the whole experience was bad fucking ass. And, like, I just wouldn't trade it for the world. And it was just very challenging. And what was most challenging about it was just like the tenacity of, just having to make sure, like, we had people flying in from California. These are Detroit actors that moved, like Kevin MSV Tate's the African American actor who, that's his wife in the basement in the beginning, and that's Rebecca down there who attacks him and stuff. But, so what was challenging for us was, they fed me so much stuff here, you give all your guests the best food and drinks. So anyways, I was going to say though that, we had to deal with continuity. We had to deal with lighting. We had to deal with the practical effects. Then we're not shooting in chronological order. So we had to do all these like effects.
It was cold, it's like
God.
the coldest night, that's always,
God, it was insane. I mean, we're using firearms. I mean, I'm on top of that truck getting thrown around, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff was real.
They're challenges, but they're like fun when you're doing them,
It was fun.
You don't really see it as that way because you're creating something. So, you're willing to do that, I think the biggest challenge for me was the cold. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, it was tough. Those outdoors.
Shooting at night, like, during the day it's not so bad, but at night, cold. And then, like, where we were shooting, it's, like, kind of really creepy. And it's, like, I was just saying how great and welcoming it was. But at night, it's just, like,
this
really,
is the most headiest, creepiest
really
place
creepy.
I've ever.
I mean, if you look closely in the background, you see it's just, like, a really eerie presence. So, it was just really cold. That was probably the biggest challenge for me was the cold. Because I just remember going back in the house like a million times and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a great experience. We had a blast.
So, my favorite part of making a movie is the, like, being on set. Is that how you guys feel too?
Oh
yeah.
man.
Just the shoot day.
Yeah. If there's a lot going, it gives me anxiety because there's just so much going on and you're like, it's just all these people and then, especially, deciding what, if you're acting that day or if you're, holding the camera, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I get anxiety a little bit, before we go. And
you should have anxiety.
It's like, well, I don't want to.
But you know what I mean though about it. I mean,
It's just a
you
lot
have
because
anxiety
you're also in
just
charge of a lot of other people
Yeah.
too. So, it's your thing and they're counting on you to direct them. So that's it. But other than that, I love being on set. We love being on set. It was a great experience. Like I can't really think of anything that was, terrible. Besides, like I said, the challenge of working with others sometimes, but we got through it. It was great.
Yeah. So then the next one you're doing is a sequel to Let Us In, Evil 1%.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What's going on? I heard there was a deal from Hollywood that was turned down.
Yeah, there was a lot of deals, but the one from Hollywood was, we want to do the movie, but we want to change a lot of it. We just want the name, and we want to export all other actors from out of state and use that as an excuse to basically siphon a lot of money from the budget. And Rebecca and I would never be able to show our faces in Detroit again.
Yeah.
And fuck money. And we make money by selling our merch, which we'll talk about at the end, our kick-ass toys and our VHS. But we'll get to that. But I was gonna say though that so that deal was offered on the table, and this is the way I feel about it all, is Rebecca and I are partners and we do this together, but we both take on different aspects of it. And the way I look at it is, I look at it as like a business thing in a way. Well, I look at it as a business thing in a big way. I want the movie to be seen, and so here's the deal. They wanted to change everything, and we know exactly how the story should go, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were never ever expecting to do a sequel or like branding the movie. That just happened, and it's also picks up from that night, but it's a completely different story after that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it does have some of the characters in there, basically all of them. It has all the characters. It's awesome the way it connects them. But anyway, so we turned down that deal because of like, how could you do that? And then, but here's the good thing about that. They wanted to attach a famous actor for like, you know, and pay him like $8,000 to just have him come down for one day as a favor, but we pay him $8,500 and he'll grace us with his fucking presence.
Yeah.
And I was like, our movie's just gonna end up in the Dollar Tree, you know what I mean? Because just like they have all these, like a werewolf film, and then they'll get William Forsythe, who I love, to come in there, and then William Forsythe is the guy who rents him the cabin, right? Well, come on, dude. Just because it says William Forsythe on there, but he's only in there for 1 second. So what happened was they wanted to do that, and I was like, well, what about like a younger upcoming actor? So dig this, and he signed on, so I'm allowed to talk about it. We went to Pittsburgh, Rebecca and I, at Rosefest, and I linked up with Drew Marvick. Shout out to Drew and everything he's doing. That's my dog. And he directed Pool Party Massacre. He's in The Barn too, but he just did Murder Sized.
Mm-hmm. I love that name.
I know. Isn't it a cool
really
movie?
good, yeah.
Probably the best movie that's out right now besides Let Us In. And that's AMP Films. That's another husband and wife team. And with Murder Size, though, he agreed to play an evil 1%. And so we have Drew Marvick, and that's the top horror comedy on Tubi and streaming in the US right now. So we got a really big actor for Evil 1%. And then with Evil 1%, the whole movie is like, takes place in Detroit with John Sinclair and the MC5 in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So it all takes place with this LSD acid testing that's going on. So it's real cool. We're filming it on a 93-acre farm that is 4 miles outside of Milan and outside of Huron Drive. And then the whole third act of Evil 1%, like it's kind of like a road biker horror movie, but then the whole third act takes place in a cabin. So it's like super claustrophobic and like plays homage to Evil Dead.
Nice.
So yeah. So we have huge. And then the movie pays homage to Return of the Living Dead. We have Evil 1% is going to be where it's at. We're going to give you really what you want in that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Mara.
No problem. The lighting in here got really excited too. It changed.
It did, totally.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll just go with it. You never know. You never know what fun things can happen.
Just go
with it. Vampa's
Mara's
lair.
Keep going, yeah.
Vampa's lair.
Yeah. That's really cool. When do you think? Well, have you started shooting this at all?
No. But here's the deal. So we are under contract to have it ready, and I have to have it edited by October 2024 of October. So it's going to be in theaters, and it is going to play in theaters. And I'm like Joe Namath at the 1969 kids. I predict that it's going to be the best horror movie of 2024 because I know this. All right, because I know things you don't know, okay? And so it will be 100%, and then we're filming it in the summer. So we're just like, and that's another thing I like is the hands-on thing, because I do the editing, then I bring home dailies to Rebecca, but Rebecca does cinematography and everything like that. Is that beast, that giant cat? I mean, that wasn't a cat. That was like, it looked like Cousin It's thing. What is that on the Addams Family that they have in the basement? I heard that thing that you had, that your goblin thing, that it didn't get unchained, did it?
My goblin?
Yeah.
He might have.
Oh God, well, we gotta end it pretty soon.
Yeah.
I heard that noise. I'm scared. Save me, Rebecca.
It's coming out from over there somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really want to
Okay,
exploit
got,
Detroit and everything.
Dad McMahon will scare him away when he comes out. It's okay. He's been quiet. He's listening, but he's here. Yeah, don't forget.
I love the set too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do.
Set? What are you talking about? You're in hell.
Well,
We're in hell.
this is hell, then geez, we've been in great. Once again, I'm
Yeah.
Lux Interior. This is Poison Ivy. We are the Cramps. We are here with Vampa.
So Evil 1% is going to be the best movie horror film of 2024.
Yep.
Can't wait to see it. All that you said it was all the same characters, so
they're all coming back.
We're gonna see Hans come back.
Yep.
Sweet.
Now, real quick, Hans is 2 characters in
That's
Medicine.
right, he
Did
is.
you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
You caught him?
I did.
Who is he?
He's the biker in the beginning.
Oh my God! Not one person has ever. Did you notice it? Oh my God! Well, if you guys are laughing because you noticed it, and kind of oh, of course, no one has noticed that yet.
That's
he
crazy.
gets killed in the beginning of the Evil 1%. It flashes back. It just kicks. There's no credits. It goes right in. I'll give you some exclusive stuff on Vampa's Vision. But the Evil 1% starts out
here first.
Yeah. It Evil 1% starts out at the same night when Rob, the Afro biker, takes off after India takes his glasses off and he disappears, and she escapes to the car. Well, it just kicks off with the Afro biker, but you don't know it's him, and the movie just starts out with Hans on a motorcycle, Petey's character, and because everybody dies in Medicine, that's the whole theme. So, but Petey's the only one who hasn't, so he dies in the beginning, Evil 1%. So it cuts out and they always say that the first and the last scene in film school is the most important, and then Let Us In, ours is the bikers, the 2 motorcycles is the first scene you see. It just pops up. It's the 2 bikers. Then the last scene is me doing the Bill Pullman near Dark Thing, Bill Paxton near Dark Thing. So on the first scene, we wanted to have the motorcycle, Petey riding, in the dark in the concrete and on the motorcycle, show the road to be the first thing, which concrete is hard like a rock. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be that's our ongoing theme too, being concrete and being hard. I was gonna say, but it shows Petey on the motorcycle and he comes to a cabin, and then Rob is his face. Rob's afro is half off, his face is all dilapidated. And Petey goes into the cabin and he's his girl's there and she's like, did you get it? Did you get it? He's like, I got the stuff, and she's like, where's it at? And he's like, oh, it's 12 miles back in the house. And she's like, fuck you, Reed's probably here, and she's like, I'm leaving, blah, blah, blah. And when she goes to leave, Rob, he lets her go, and when she's leaving, she sees in the rearview mirror that he gets pulled through the door, and it's Rob and everything. And then it recaps the whole movie like it does in Evil Dead. Yeah. And then it cuts to this, these people in a government classroom, and they're about to move the canisters with Tim Jenkins chainsaw guy in there. Yeah. And then Hans is, how you turn, with his zombie in there. Yeah. And then when that truck goes and that truck ends up, something happens to that truck, and then it starts the whole process over again.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it's got a big Return of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead 2 vibe to it. And I'm proud of that. I love those films.
I love the first one.
Yeah,
I started to watch the second one and I wasn't feeling it.
You weren't feeling it?
Yeah, just the other day I was like, I never saw it. We put it on and I was like,
big movie when I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
When that movie came out, because timing is everything, so VHS was starting to get at a pinnacle when Return of the Living Dead 2 came out. So when 1 came out, it was VHS was around, but that was a little earlier. But when Return of the Living Dead 2 was coming out, the promotion, people would just wanted that movie so bad. And and then the kid with the braces, no pain, no gain, or whatever he says in that, whatever. It's just a cool movie. But it's basically the same as the first one, same characters and everything,
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess this is a good segue to talk more about streaming versus tangible media and how this relates to IAP. And so I guess starting off, you were saying that Evil 1% is going to play theatrically, right?
Yeah, and then stream.
Then go to stream. So are you going to do some of the VHS on those eventually too?
Oh yeah, we're always going to do the VHS, which we hand make all of our VHS IAP, and these are VHS, which we'll cut to that shot later or whatever, and we'll get a better look at these. But yeah, so we make all these VHS, all the movies that we're going to put out in AIP, including Evil 1%, are going to be put out on VHS. But here's the deal with the streaming and everything. It's kind of like when the drive-ins went away at the end of the 70s, early 80s, it took away a lot of companies that then made a segue and tried to make a segue into VHS, like Roger Corman's AIP. They, tried to go into Concord or, New Vision Cinema, whatever the fuck. and they tried going into VHS and you know, do movies like Harness or whatever, you know, and they had some luck. But my point is like it really hurt a lot of things when the drive-in died. You know what I mean? And then it was just mostly had big, you know, just big studio films, you know?
Yeah.
And then you also had like the Weinstein's company and stuff like that. And then when their stuff died out, you know what I mean? In the 90s, you saw this like, what's that Matt Damon film, you know, like Jerry Maguire and stuff, you know? Like when I was in school in the early 2000s, it was like you could never make a film. That's what they tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Unless you're fucking got Ben Affleck in your film. You know what I mean? And so
when I went to film school, they were like, "You can't make a movie in Michigan. You have to go somewhere else."
Yeah. The equipment was like here, but not really.
Yeah.
And so Rebecca and I, we just stayed around long enough to where now I feel that I know. You got the advent of streaming. You have people rediscovering tangible media because they can collect movies that they're like Netflix. They can't collect them on their TV.
Yeah.
They can favorite them, but then it opens the door to tangible media, VHS, DVDs, and we have seen like incredible sales with tangible media for Let Us In and Strong Arm, and we haven't even streamed it yet. And I mean, I'm not bragging, but we just have.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's taking a lot of hard work. But yeah, it's just awesome. And I feel like the Raku is like the whole drive-in all over again, restarting. And you got the drive-ins again.
Yeah, they are. I've never been to a drive-in in my life.
Yup, then the culture. You've never been to View, Vampa?
No, I haven't. It's just
The Misfits song too on the Famous Monsters album, or which one do you know? Like their comeback album in the '90s, that song "Saturday Night" or whatever. You know what song I'm talking about? Like that's like only one of the newer Misfits songs I like. That one. You know what I'm talking about? Backseat.
I don't know any Misfits that doesn't involve Glenn Danzig.
Oh man, me too. No, that's why I'm naming that song. Have you ever heard that song?
I probably have.
We're gonna have to put it on the phone after because I don't like any of the songs without Glenn. Like, come on, dude. Like, no offense. Anybody who considers the Misfits without Glenn, I mean, I hate to shit on any little kids, but come on,
Shit
man.
on anyone who likes Misfits without Danzig in this house.
Well, dude,
and
would you
on my
like
show.
anybody? Would you like having Vampa without Vampa's show? So hey, we're at Vampa's. This is now you're back with Rebecca and I.
Yeah.
And, no,
It'd be like just like Vampa, and it's just some like cat turd in a hood. No, I don't think so.
No,
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
And they are playing again, right? But it isn't. Is Jerry playing with them too? You got Jerry playing with them too?
Well, the Misfits now
Yeah.
is the original Misfits. So it's Glenn Danzig, Jerry only, Doyle,
It's Doyle too, so
Yeah.
it's not just Doyle and Glenn. It's
and
them
Jerry.
all.
But then they
Who's
got
drumming?
Dave Lombardo,
That's kind of cool.
and then they got AC Slade, who's really playing guitar. Like
Okay, and then
AC
they.
Slade was with Wednesday 13, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He did that, yeah.
I'm
He kind of
surprised,
like travels around.
I'm surprised they didn't get like Robo.
He
or
really
anybody.
he's the one who really plays guitar.
yeah, they have him like he stands like in the back
Yeah.
in a little like circle.
It's
that he
probably
doesn't
static
move
to
out
get the
of.
gig though.
Oh yeah, totally.
They need
And
to
then
get
Doyle
Robo.
like walks around and he chews bubble gum, but and you know he just like punches the guitar. I don't know what he's doing.
You know, those
Maybe he's
people
doing
play.
something. I'm not a guitar person,
That's funny.
but yeah,
He's got bloody knuckles.
yeah. So yeah, so you think the streaming then is like a new kind of drive-in where the independent filmmaker can have a platform
Yes, yeah.
and
I
know
know
will
it is.
watch.
I know it is.
Yes, there's there's a lot out there, with like Roku or whatever. I mean, there's a million of them.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
say a million. That's exaggerated.
No,
but
you're
there's a
100%
lot.
right. There's
lot
a million.
out
That's the
there.
crazy part. Is she's right that there's a million.
But yeah, if
Yeah.
you can get on Tubi, you can
There's
get
a
on
million.
Pluto. There's just more opportunity for that.
Crazy.
If you're interested, if you're a viewer and are interested in true independent film and things that are, not on Netflix, it's out there. You just have to look for
Yeah.
it. So, and so as a director or as a filmmaker, that's definitely an avenue that you probably wouldn't have had, unless you're shopping around your film or showing it yourself or, some avenue such as that if you're not in the Hollywood type
Right.
thing, which,
Yeah.
Perfect analogy of what you're talking about. And I know you can back this up. Stephen Mina, okay, director of Malevolence.
Mhm.
Okay, so he does this movie Malevolence. I'm there at the premiere. He's not from around here, but it was like Anchor Bay or something that put it out. So I was at the premiere, and have you ever heard of this movie Malevolence?
No.
Fucking badass. Rebecca loves the cinematographer, the Asian dude, who's like the best in the world. Because Rebecca can't believe that he did that movie. I think it's like his first movie.
No, he's like he's not Takako Fujimoto, who you think that's like.
I know it's not him, but
it's not him, but
man.
he's definitely like similar to
He's
that
the shit.
style. Yes.
Well, they did this movie, and it has like a whole Bruce Campbell guy type vibe to it too. It's just done awesome, and it's this guy Steve Mina, okay, MENA. But dig this about the streaming. So then it ends up he ends up branding it and like making it a whole trilogy. So they have the Malevolence one, and it's now the second one just came out, and it's called. Guess what it has on it? It's Michael, what's his name? Reese from Aliens.
Oh,
is the main character, which is cool. He's cool. Shit, Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn's the main character. And anyways, that one, I forget the name of it. It's called, not Malevolence. The second one's called something. I'll think of it in a minute. But what I'm getting at is, so I get both those DVDs, and like, Rebecca, we didn't know about the second one. So we got it, and we're like, wow, it's cool. And then just right when we were doing Let Us In, we see it pops up, the third Malevolence pops up in the trilogy, and it was through streaming, and that's the only way we found out about it. And then you told me you knew when they were filming it. It has, what's her name in it from The Fog? The girl. Adrienne Barbeau's in it.
Wow.
And it has like a whole Halloween 2 feel to it. And so I was going to say Stephen Mine is the shit. And then he was in an interview recently talking about how with streaming, like he wouldn't have been able to do this film. Do you know what I mean? And just like, so like, yeah, I think streaming's super important. I know it is. I know.
Cool. So eventually Let Us In will be streaming.
Yes, we were hoping. Yes, it should be streaming.
Yeah, so here's our plan with Let Us In. So like the biker films were the new westerns of the 60s, and Wild Angels was the first biker film in the 60s, and then but nobody really remembers Wild Angels. They remember Easy Rider, which really, yeah, I'm glad you see. You're picking up on what I'm laying down.
I know my film history.
All right, so check this out. We always have a plan on what we do, and Rebecca and I. So the plan was, even though it's a horror element to the biker thing, we wanted to get that chrome and hot leather vibe out there. We felt like, not that we just felt like the biker thing was, we were really involved with the culture, but like, so dig this. So we did the movie, and we had incredible sales, and it's played all over the U.S., and it's about to start streaming. But now Tom Hardy has a new biker film movie coming out. Have you heard about this? The Bike Riders?
No.
Oh my fucking God. And it's about the early 60s formation, the Outlaws. They're called the Vandals, though. They have colors very similar to Rebecca and ours, and the same sadist ones like we did. We should have brought the colors. But dig this, though. That Bike Riders comes out, but it takes place with the early 60s with the more greaser look, but it's all true, and it's based off that famous outlaw photography book where they're all driving over that like Oklahoma Bridge or whatever. So it's based off just a photography book. But dig this, that movie comes out December 1st or December 7th. So our goal was to have Let Us In streaming before that. And I feel a lot of people, I know that a lot of people, even though Let Us In is different and doesn't have tons of writing, even 1% is going to. But I feel that there's going to be a whole nother door open up with the biker thing. And I feel that once people see that Let Us In is streaming, and then they see that Bike Riders movie, then they're going to be ready for Evil 1%. And then Evil 1% has more of the Easy Rider vibe to it. So yeah, I am a businessman, and I am looking at it as we have a plan, and the plan is to put it out at the right time and around these other movies.
That's cool.
Thank you.
That's gonna be exciting. I like what she said. I like what she said about the streaming because I honestly had never thought about the comparison between streaming and almost like what you're saying, like a midnight movie vibe. Like that's where you're gonna get those movies. My
Screenbox TV, shout out to them. You didn't give me the contract I wanted. But maybe we can get on there still. But like you can go see Terrifier there, but they got some really good movies there though.
You can find a lot of good movies, old and new. I mean, it's just you gotta be adventurous and be willing to take a risk and watch some stuff you normally wouldn't watch.
I love that stuff, though. I mean, honestly, I think the stuff that independent people are doing is way more
Oh, my heart,
interesting and
Valen.
unique than.
Be careful with it.
There you go. Put that
Oh, my heart. Be careful with it.
My big filmmaking hero is John Waters, and he did the midnight movie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's always saying like it's not how it used to, it's not the same. There isn't that.
Polyester.
Yeah, there isn't that same type of like vibe, I guess, where you can go to the theater and see those types of things. But it sounds like with the streaming, we can make it happen.
Oh, totally. And John Waters, he's so cool. I love Debaters, man. And
Yeah, he's great.
Isn't he great? That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, isn't that one? Isn't he cool as
I
shit?
mean, I don't know.
Man.
They're
I'm trying to
all-
think of
every
a couple
time-
lines.
Anytime anyone mentions any John Waters, I'm like, that's my favorite one. So I just
Serial Mom, I saw at the theater when it came out.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a kick-ass
I
one.
love
No
it.
White After Labor Day. My favorite, man. I dig
Well-
that. Plus, it was so cool to see Matthew Lillard in that. When that movie came out. That was a
yeah.
big Serial Mom was a big fucking movie when that came out.
You know what I have? I bought a promo item from that movie.
What?
That's from Serial Mom.
Yeah,
That's
what
a
is it?
watch. It's a
Wow.
watch that says Serial Mom on the band, and then on the face it had the remember when she smacks the fly?
Yeah.
It's like the fly with the blood on it. That is like one of the coolest.
Do you still
movies
have
ever.
it?
I still have
That's
it.
awesome.
I like how her like friends, they she gets found so guilty, but they won't believe it.
I know.
It's just like she could never do that.
So I bring that up as a segue because you have some amazing promo items as well for Strong Arm and Let Us In that you wanted to show off.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of toys. You can show some off, Vampa.
Been watching on the Price is Right, so
I know. And all this artwork we have done. We have it all done by Tim Jenkins from
Shagrat?
Acid. Yeah, Shagrat from Acid Witch.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Bootleg as fuck toys.
Yeah, and that's the guy who
Yeah.
does them, and we design all these. Yeah, we have tons of different
The
types.
bloody dog
ones.
tags.
Bloody dog tags, even 1% patches. We got we do like 2 different packages for each different toy. Here's another dog tag one. Here's the Let Us In
And then the other
chainsaws. We have Tim's mask. Tim has his own toy now. It's his
Here's the
3D
other
printed
cover.
mask.
It has
And
yet to be put out.
yeah, it's coming out in a few weeks. It's already been made
Oh,
and
no
it's being
shit.
made. Yeah, it's got Tim Jenkins on the cover with a bunch of Japanese art, and it's him with the chainsaw, and then it has his mask in there, and it's really
Cool.
kick ass.
Cool.
Yeah.
I loved Tim's death.
Whoa, God, his death in the movie is so
Yeah.
cool. I'd also like to give a shout out to Midnight Magazine too, which I write for, and just a cool magazine, and we always cover cool horse stuff. We always got cool covers. And
Yeah,
then
what
here
else
we
we
even
got?
got we
T-shirt?
got the Evil 1% shirt. It's done by Demilitarized Dave. Shout out to Dave. And these are handmade too. All of our stuff is handmade by us. This says "Let Us Out" in Japanese, so it's got the cool kanji art. And then it's got the IAP on the back. And then we got the colored VHS here too.
That's so nostalgic.
Isn't it? All handmade by us.
Yeah.
I love
We
labels. I
rated
love
X.
stickers. Yeah.
The MPAA rated that.
Oh, we have to. I know, it was the old rated R in the 70s. It's so crazy seeing my
Yeah.
grandma be like, rated X! Oh my God, what are you doing back then?
Baby porno!
Yeah, that's like what that meant. Well, that's what people
People
thought.
think that. People
Yeah.
still think
They
that. I'm like,
really
rated
do.
X. I'm like, oh my God. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, oh my God.
Yeah. Or even like unrated used to have a bad connotation
Yeah.
too, because it would
Yeah.
mean like they didn't give it to the MPAA to look at. So
That was
it's
a big
worse than an
deal.
X.
Yeah,
you know?
it was. The rating thing was a big deal back
Oh,
then.
but
Yeah, now they do NC-17, which doesn't have the same ring.
The NC-17, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, let's just say you do a horror movie and you don't get an NC-17 and you get a PG rating. Is that a good thing? Right?
I have no
don't know.
idea.
So do you want that NC-17 rating? I mean, I don't know. And then who the fuck, first of all, is rating these movies? You know, like we don't know who is writing the
just
movies. We
complete,
know,
like,
I know the whole
lame
system.
people. Like,
Yeah. That is BS. That whole system's got to go.
It sure does.
Because that affects people's pockets, books, and like I'm not going to listen to somebody who I don't know who their values are, whether they even have a kid.
No, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, I've seen. What's that
And then they're
movie?
getting paid for that too.
What's the movie with Meg Tilly that takes place in? It's not Mausoleum. One Dark Night.
One Dark Night.
I just watched that last night.
Yeah, that movie's rated like
I
PG,
did.
I think, or PG-13.
I did. I watched it last night.
It's
It's really good.
So it's like you don't. The rating will throw you off if you might think you want to watch something that's more hard or harder
It's
rating.
scary.
That movie's
one.
scary as
Yeah.
hell.
It's very
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, but but for whatever reason they thought it should be rated PG because it didn't have nudity or whatever in it. I don't know how they rated. In the 80s, I really question how they rated stuff because
Yeah.
it seems like some things are really would be rated R today. And
It was like Chopping Mall. You wonder, is like that PG or is that it's got to be R? Something like that.
Yeah.
Chopping Mall. It's
yeah,
a fine line, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you look at a movie like Rolling Thunder, okay? Like our first film, Strong Arm, gets a bad vibe because it's a slow burn in a way. And I should have mentioned that, but I'm just being honest. But like, it doesn't get a bad vibe. Actually, we get credit for it. But here's the thing, though: it is a slow burn. I always feel it's important to give. Like, let us say we had a face get ripped off right before the title card, and that worked. So I like whatever. But Rolling Thunder, okay, was one of the only films besides The Warriors. And Rolling Thunder is Paul Schrader, who did Taxi Driver, Vietnam vet, by the way. Love you, Paul. And those were his clothes Robert De Niro wore in Taxi Driver, like, the jacket and the glasses, and the dungarees. Those weren't De Niro's, man. But Paul Schrader is a man's man, real cool dude, and nothing against, the feminist movement or anything. I'm just talking about this particular time, though, and about what I'm about to get into. This Vietnam vet, Paul Schrader, ended up doing Taxi Driver, but he did, they didn't have a Vietnam movie out yet. They didn't have Apocalypse Now or Deer Hunter hadn't come out yet. Because that was real taboo with Vietnam at this point in the 70s. So he did Rolling Thunder, okay? And Rolling Thunder is kind of like what Strong Arm's based off about. And that's this, where is, it was over here. But anyways, Rolling Thunder, our movie Strong Arm, Rolling Thunder is an influence to it. So anyways.
there's Strong Arm right
There's Strong Arm right here. All
That's
right. All right, so, we got Strong Arm right here. So Strong Arm, Rolling Thunder was a big influence. So was Taxi Driver. So was Paul Schrader. And here's Strong Arm right here. So that movie, Rolling Thunder, doesn't have any violence in it until the end shootout, really, what you say, and he does get his hand cut off, but this is way later on. I'm talking an hour and a half into the movie, right? But that movie was because how they have those test screenings, they'll go to Texas or something, and they'll they'll just do a screening there. That movie had violence to where they just had to ban that movie. Do you know what I'm saying? People were beating each other up. That movie, it's
Cause people to get
it caused people to fucking freak out, destroy the theaters. Yeah, and dig this though. Look at it from a perspective of Clockwork Orange and all that. Okay, now I'm not trying to get deep. I'm talking about the impact of what visuals have on the human mind.
Right.
Now dig this. So the studios are looking at this and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in writing this that is making people feel this way?" My whole point is that movie barely has any violence in it. You know what I mean? It's just the tone of the movie. So I feel that the power of your tongue and the power of your imagination is really important. You know what I mean? Jim Van Bebber's a mentor to mine, and Rebecca, the director who did Manson Family and everything. He's a cool dude, and he was sometimes it's things you don't do in life. And he didn't do Saw 4, you know what I mean? And he did do, what's that movie we like? Surrealistic Summer. What's that movie? Toolbox Murders, great movie. The remake, the new one. He wrote that and did that one, but he didn't, he dropped off the project. But what I'm getting at is sometimes it's what you do and you don't do. And what I was going to say is that movie Rolling Thunder, shit, it didn't have that much violence in it, but it fucking made people go nuts. And I think that's cool, and I think that's the power of cinema. You know?
Yeah, totally.
You know,
It's
just
cool.
like Halloween, the legendary thing with Halloween that nobody thought it was scary until they heard it with the music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like little things like that, and I think
Yeah.
the little nuances make everything. Just like we're talking about with the Misfits.
Yeah.
You know, God, Earth AD is a good album, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I know it's real because I just can't fake it.
Yeah. Blood Beast. That's a great one. It's one of my favorite.
It's probably one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, for sure. It's killer. Making friends over Misfits all the time here.
I
Here
know,
on
bringing
Vampa's-
people together one day at a time.
Vampa with Vampa. Did you have more? No, we showed all the merch,
Yeah.
right? So what are your thoughts on like the future of independent filmmaking? We touched a little bit with the streaming, but I mean with everything else, like social media and iPhones and what have you. How do you see it going?
Just like prostitution's going. It goes, prostitution went to, you used to go on horseback and go into a western town.
Mhm.
And then you would go to Vegas or whatever. You go where, it's legal. But now prostitution girls will meet up with dudes on Facebook or Craigslist, which is crazy, like Craigslist killer and all that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm never going to knock prostitution. That's not what I'm getting into. But what I'm getting at is that people are always going to find a way. And I think, once again, I don't like to think, I know that the independent films, and like I said about prostitution, the analogy there is like, people are going to find out different avenues to where just to like make it easier, like to hook up and like, oh, I don't have to like walk down the fucking street. You just put my face on a profile, meet a dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let someone know where I'm going and it's safer for the woman. Well, independent film is like, just like someone would go out and get a prostitute, people would fucking not dig Titanic 666. You can't tell me that that's a good movie. And these studios are making movies like that.
Yeah.
And so people are therefore going to go, dude, let us in. That guy did that and it's in 4K and it looks good and it's on my Roku flat screen TV and I can buy the VHS and the dudes from Detroit. Oh, and a girl did it. And you know what I mean? And so independent film, I think, is the alternative to mediocrity in what Hollywood's doing. And I think I know, once again, I know I'm right because you look at them doing movies like Killers of the Flower Moon. They're making movies longer. You know what I mean? You got people like David Cronenberg that are still making movies. They're trying to give you what you want because they have so many avenues people can go down. Okay, doing horror movies in the 80s was the same thing as doing porn, no matter what way you look at it. And if you were doing TV, it's because your career was washed up in the 80s.
That's true.
But now it's a complete flip-flop to that. Josh Brolin, Outer Range, one of the
100%.
best shows.
Yeah.
TV
is like the upper
TV,
echelon now.
yeah, TV's the upper echelon. So what Rebecca and I are doing is like the alternative to like the prostitute walking down the street and being like, man, I'll just go to fucking Facebook. Or, you know what I mean? I'll just go to, whatever, like dating service, whatever. We're just fucking the alternative. Someone being like, man, I'm going to go to my remove my Roku TV and I can watch practical effects, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we want to be as an alternative. Because then wherever there's a market, there's always an alternative. We want to be that alternative.
So you can essentially find your Johns better
Yeah.
as a filmmaker.
And I didn't even want to put it in that like thing, but I wanted to show how serious it is because I'm real serious about it because alternative means everything because it's safer on all of us around. Because here's the thing. Back in the 80s, these kids, you always had people holding you down. Remember when you were a kid, you had to have your parents rent you an R-rated tape.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always been like a hold on some shit that like shouldn't be a hold on it. What the fuck, man? Nowadays you got Gran Turismo and everything and like, drill music, which I listen to drill rap. It's like all I listen to, but what I'm getting at is like hits like our that shooting the other day in Maine. Mm-hmm. I was bringing a bunch of AIP merch Sunday night to drop off to our shipping lady, and it said that shooting happened at a bowling alley where there was a kid event, right? And RIP slogan is "Stay Dangerous" because it's like the opposite of, it's stay safe, stay dangerous, get it?
Yeah.
My whole thing is, it said that there was like 50 witnesses to that were kids and like older people, or like 100 witnesses to that.
Yeah.
And I thought, God, like those kids see something like horrible like that, right? Then you turn on the news and you see, the war, and you see a lot of like really bad stuff. So kids are like, or kids can just turn on their phone and see sex at like age like 4, like as soon as they get a phone, right?
Yeah.
So you can't really pull the wool over kids' eyes like you used to be able to, per se, in the 80s. So what I'm getting at is that...
It's hard to do back then, too. I mean, back to
Yeah.
Danzig, he wrote the song Mother.
Yeah.
It's kind of about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
crazy that you're saying that. So I feel like you're really like not doing something bad when you're not hiding it. So hence the prostitution thing. Hence technology making it easier for just so many things. And having an alternative. And that's the most important thing. You should have an alternative to anything.
Yeah, that's true.
When there's
I
an
agree with
alternative,
you.
there's a market.
Yeah, and especially now, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and in the 90s is when I really started getting into film and wanting to be a filmmaker and, thinking about film seriously, First time I saw Clockwork Orange and Taxi Driver and, Blue Velvet and all the rest of the David
Blue
Lynch
Velvet
movies
is such a
and
cool
everything.
movie, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah. And, back then, you think about independent films, and it was a little different. You're thinking about, like, Kevin Smith, who else? I'm trying to think of, like, what was, like, popular as far as independent. It's, like, even, like,
You had horror
Tarantino.
movies coming back after you had Tarantino, but then you had
Yeah.
like Scream brought a lot of the horror movie shit back.
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer. Like horror died out in the early '80s, like after Hellraiser, and then all you had was like
I
Pumpkinhead.
didn't like those movies.
Neither did
those,
I.
thought they were a little
Uh-huh.
too sleek and cheesy,
Yeah,
and
me
they
too.
were, they're about kids, and it wasn't any of the kids I knew or hung out with. They were like, lack of a better word, they were all like preppy, and that wasn't who I was. So, but yeah, you watch stuff that was a little more independent and shot on like 16 millimeter or something. There was that happening, and I like wanted to be a part of that community so bad. And by the time I was coming up in the early 2000s, that was like done.
It was like completely done.
It was
Early
gone.
2000s were a grim time, I feel.
Oh yeah, they
With
were.
technology, because you had like that, what is that? That like mini HD or whatever come out, and like fuck all that, dude. All I can say, sometimes I feel it's like being alive long enough, or being around long enough for things to whatever, Jeez, look at some of these bands too, like Rush. You know what I mean? Like they got their props back then, but more so later on. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what I want, but I'm just saying I feel like there's time and place for everything. Timing's everything.
That's true. That's very true.
Timing's everything. Like I remember, like you said that you didn't dig Return of the Living Dead 2. No one really dug
Never
Halloween
did.
4, man. Or you know what movie is considered? I always tell her like is the bar of horror. Not that I need to tell her anything. She tells me shit. No, because Rebecca is way into like so many cool horror movies. I've learned so much from her. But what I'm getting at is like we agree on a lot of this stuff though. Like we were talking about. Remember you and I were talking about how like the bar is kind of like. And we're not saying they're the best, but we were saying how like Dawn of the Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, kind of have like a high standard with them. You know what I mean? Like there's just a standard. But dude, most people don't know this unless you were there. I was there. Nobody dug Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
That movie was hated. Forever. I mean, that movie was a fucking joke. Because when that movie came out, it was a joke.
It was like it's like
It's comedy.
It's a
No one,
right?
no one
Yeah,
even
yeah.
knew it was the Breakfast Club that got that
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
No
that
one
cover,
got nothing
yeah.
of it. And like I remember
so subtle.
my dad gave me the threw the Fangoria at me, like psh, what? He's like, yeah. I mean, they even had like they were so embarrassed they used like half of the spread wasn't even from the movie. It was Leatherface doing the dance from the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, that movie was concerned. Suck, that movie's done with Kit Carlson. They had a fucking, when in that movie, when he's like, music's my life, and when he's talking to her, that Kit Carlson's right there on set with a typewriter writing all those lines, They did all that on the spot. That movie's fucking awesome, but that's what I'm getting at. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is considered You know, Chop Top, you wouldn't have Devil's Rejects, none of that.
No, yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was getting at. That sometimes when you're alive long enough, like we survived the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, fuck that, dude.
But I think the independent thing is coming back because
Big time.
I mean, it's like I've just met so many people now, and
There's a whole
who are doing it.
There's a whole
Janice
movement
Click.
going, and just you can because you can film with anything.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to, you don't need the best camera.
Mhm.
I mean, it helps, but you can do
And
a
if
lot
you
with
can't, not to cut you off, you can't afford a 4K camera, you shouldn't be doing it. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't be, but with these iPhones, these 4K cameras, you can really do it. And I
You can
didn't
do a
mean to cut
lot.
you
I
off.
just think it's it's just your talent, your raw talent. Just go out there and do it. You don't have to have, you just have to have the will to do it. And you
That's
can.
true.
So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. You just have to see it through. The editing, everything. Just have a good vision and just put it out there and just see what happens.
That's true, and a lot of people. What you say is important. If you have the will to do it, you'll do it. Because a lot of people they like to talk about it, and they like the idea of saying that they are a filmmaker or that they're gonna make their movie, and they don't.
Let's get on that for 1 second.
Well, it's just hard to, I don't want to. You don't want to talk about, because it's hard to like see things through. It's not
It is.
to try to
But
get
here's
people
the
together.
thing.
But
Here's
know
the
the
thing.
people who are consistently talking and who don't.
Yes.
You go to their fucking IG profile, and you know who I'm talking about. I'm gonna look at you on the camera and say, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. And you call yourself a director. It's okay, you can call yourself a filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
But you can't call it direct when you haven't directed shit.
Mhm.
And here's why I say that, because like it really, really looks bad on the people that have been down in the field. And I'm not talking about myself or Rebecca, but more so Rebecca. I'm into strong females and females. There's so many like females out there, Kansas bowling and shit, who are like really doing stuff. You know what I mean? And then so for someone to just step back on IG and be like, yo.
Well,
I'm a
that's
film
the downfall of
director.
social media and things like that. People just have access and are able to do that, and it's okay, whatever. Just go out and do your own thing. Don't worry about whatever they're doing.
But do it though.
Yeah.
Don't just
Just do
talk
it, and
about
yes, just do it and see it through and see, and even if no one likes it, whatever, you did it yourself. It's like, because a lot of people don't create, they don't take something raw and,
And I honestly dig what you said though about it's hard to see something through.
You
I
want
get-
people to finish their,
Yeah.
So if someone tells me their shit and that I think it's a good idea and they seem like they have vision, I'm like I'm ready to like make it happen for
Yeah,
them.
I
Like
know.
I love making movies,
Yeah.
not just my own. I'm gonna make everyone's movie. With
Then you
know?
definitely.
Everybody was kung fu
You definitely-
fighting.
You definitely want to add to the independent cause, that sort of thing too. You want to be a part of that, and I don't know, just make that happen.
Totally.
So.
Totally.
And nowadays too, you can go rent a camera.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. There's that place over in Livonia, I think.
Do you know what I found like from doing my shit? It's kind of like there was this camera place when we bought all our stuff. Remember the place you sent me to? I didn't even know it was there, and it was Ben. The guy was fought World War II with my grandfather.
Damn.
Yeah, right over. What's the name of the place back?
I don't know. I can't remember the name.
Waltz.
It's on. I think it is Waltz on Plymouth Road in Livonia.
But these places are all over, is what I found. People that will fix your camera for you. People that will do everything for you. People that that's another thing too. Spread the money around. I think quitting gets a bad rap too, and I think spending money gets a bad rap.
Quitting and spending money.
Yeah, I think like sometimes if you're doing something for a long time, it just isn't working. You can quit, step away from that, and then like something else will open up for you. I seriously think that, kids.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to quit, and I also think
I'm with you on that.
yeah,
by the way.
and I think that the government, or I know that the government takes
It's okay to quit quitting too.
yeah, quitting, and then the government takes 40% of your money. When you start making money. And so like it's really good to spend money and especially like support other people's shit. You know what I mean? And like I said, we make money with IP, and like a lot of people buy our merch and a lot of people buy our stuff, and that's a good thing to keep the economy going and spend money. So like spending money gets a bad rap. I really do. Like people are always like
I
saving
think
money.
people like to spend money.
Yeah.
I think they do. I like to spend money.
I love
We are-
you so
So I
much.
like
We're
to
in the fourth level of hell, which is the spendthrift and hoarders level. So I think that,
I know I like to
we're
spend
being
money.
influenced
Yes.
by that here.
Hey man,
For sure.
I know I like to smoke weed. So,
Yeah,
Aunt
I do
Sue,
too.
please, I hope you're not watching that. But hey, no, I think that all right, like I said, I know that spending the money is a good thing, and yeah, especially in the economy right now too. And yeah, getting the cameras and like these kids getting their movies on Indiegogo.
Mhm.
You always, I know it sounds so cliche when they say, "Oh, the things are out there," but they really are.
Mhm.
You know, like all the.
It's definitely. I think it's definitely easier now. It seems to do that. You know,
Yeah.
not carrying
When
around.
we were younger, it was.
I know. I hate sounding like back in my day. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
but you
you
did.
know.
Well, when I went to film school, I learned on 16 millimeter, and it was like
You're lucky, God.
we once I had it shot, I had to get it like developed and printed and everything, and it's like we had to send it out. I don't think anyone was doing it in Detroit. I think we sent it out in Chicago or something at the time, and I never finished the film because it was too complex. When we got digital, then it was like
See, digital
boom,
makes
boom.
it. You know, I don't. People are like, you know, they kind of like snob about that. You know,
Yeah.
the digital thing. But I think you should welcome in whatever is available to you. I
Yeah.
mean, because film is not available. It's expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm
Tricorn
saying?
hats when they first came out. George
Exactly.
Washington probably didn't
So,
dig them, but now
You know, just use what you have. You know, I mean, you know, whatever shit guitar you got, start a band. I don't know. Do what you
I
can.
mean, I would love to shoot on 16 millimeter because I really like the look of it.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, you gotta, but so many things too. You gotta expose that film like in light. You gotta have a fucking truck there, you know, a dark place, a
Yeah.
room there, a dark room on set.
right.
A lot of things that people don't realize, you know what I'm saying? And it's
Oh
like,
shit! Yeah.
yeah, until you tell me what that 16 millimeter movie is gonna do for us, the viewer in 16 millimeter, then you know, is it worth
Nothing.
even making? you
No,
know?
you're right.
It's
You're
some
It'd be
but
for
some
me,
of them.
You
no,
know what
no,
I
no.
mean?
Yeah,
Just to
yeah.
have the experience to like do it.
Oh no, totally. I'm
Yeah.
all behind that. But I'm saying though, like that even raises the bar to like
Yeah.
to do both that, you know, accomplish two birds with one stone.
It'd be just a gimmick, like on 16 millimeter. You know, I don't know.
Oh man, dude,
Cool.
you can accomplish
But,
so
like-
much, man. There's so much motion in that film. But I really dig 4K a lot. Like I do a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't want to really get into the technical thing, but I will say this much though. You know, like some of my cats, like Jim Van Bever, of course, dude. Of course, I'm gonna like back him up on the film thing over that because of like, you know, these guys grew up cutting film and everything, and all the records her and I have done have all been reel to reel. I'm very familiar with it, but once again, I come from a classical film thing too. But yeah, 4K just looks so good to me. I'm sorry.
I think. it
And
does,
I'm
too.
way into the
I'm
lighting
with
thing too, you know, because I like Italian films. And back then you had to use all these gels and all
Right,
this shit,
thank you.
you know,
Yeah.
look at how we lit the set, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. You know, so what you're supposed to tell me, like, hey man, you know, you can't have fucking Tom Hardy or something in your fucking film because we got to shoot on 16 millimeter. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, dude. You're the lighting thing. You know what I mean?
you. Yeah.
And the lighting was real important to let us in. Like, we lit like, you know, in Halloween, I've always thought that was the scariest scene in the movie where he's like, Lindsay, you know, and then like you hear, I like how John Carpenter uses music, not that he makes, he uses music from like another movie they're watching and uses that as the music of his scene.
Yeah.
So like, Lee Wallace is like behind Lindsay and they're watching, Howard Hawks' movie, The Thing. So you hear the spaceship going, and he looks out, and while that music's going on, Michael Myers is carrying Annie in the room, and he kicks open the door, you know, and he like shuts it, and the lights off, and the kid's just like, it's just so fucking like, oh my god, because he looks so menacing, and he's like, oh my god, I saw the boogeyman. What I was gonna say about that is like that stuff is just, it just looks so good, and it's so scary, and I feel like how can I word this? I feel like it looks good though. And I feel like you can do the same thing with 4K. If you can make it look good, do you know what I mean? And you have something that's scary like that,
Yeah.
and you write something. That also goes down to challenging yourself too. Can you write something that's that good? Like Blair Witch. That's what I love about that shit. Blair Witch changed the game with clever writing. Someone's like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm just going to get this girl. I'm going to figure out, minimize my sets. We're just going to shoot in the woods. And we're gonna get the big scene's gonna be the girl. She's got to be a good actor, but she's gonna cry in the camera at the end. You know, that's like a pivotal scene in the movie. It's just like the parents. And when you see that, you're like, didn't she like win an Oscar for that or something? She should have. No, seriously, it was big. Yeah, like she like gave up her like acting career for like that, didn't she? Because like she acted that show was like real for a whole
they
year.
had to like go into hiding.
Yeah, man, that shit, man, was a big deal. People they were like the Beatles of horror movies, by the way. Someone should do a documentary about that. I'm giving my ideas away for free, kids. But no, Blair Witch really was like the Beatles of fucking the 90s. And that shit was so hot. And even if you didn't dig it. I remember when I went to see that, this is crazy. I saw the second showing on the Saturday at the one at the Royal Oak, Maine, and the rumor was that it was real. No one, it had to be seen, so only one showing. It was Friday night before, so this girl had seen it. She goes, "Yo, you got to see this," and we were going camping. No, we saw the first night. So we saw the first one. So this girl told us about the movie, went to go see it. So I saw the opening night Friday, and I went camping 9 miles in the UP from civilization with just me and this girl. We went camping, and my ex-girlfriend Kate, and give her a shout. What's up, Kate? And you probably never see me here. You knew you wouldn't see me. I said I'd be a film director. But dig this. We went to go see that movie, and that movie fucking just blew our minds, you know? Yeah. And so we thought that was real, and then the next day I went camping, and I was fucking freaked out, and I brought a video camera too, and I did it too. Mom and Dad, I was so scared.
Just in case the witch got you, there'd be a
the flashlight under.
Dude, those sticks.
With the snot coming out of your nose.
Dude, the whole movie was the shit. And the newest one is really good too, where they like go out to the woods and then they meet the guys who claim there's really a witch out there, but she's not and everything. It's cool. But that girl though, but going back to it, that acting and going into how they did the whole film thing, that was dope. That was dope. Scream was dope too. I know you said you weren't into it, but I feel like the reinvention of the whole thing. And that's about the Gainesville Ripper. So that's about the Gainesville Ripper, Tommy Rollins. Are you familiar with him?
No.
Or no, Danny Rollins. Yeah, it's Gainesville Ripper. Like, Danny Rollins is a trip, man. He went on a killing spree too and a robbing spree, and like he's really good at guitar. You can look him up. He's like sings these really like deep songs too. Danny Rollins is a pimp, but he ended up like killing a lot of people, and they like didn't find him for a long time. But anyways, yeah, there was a rumor that they were in Florida, and like that production was gonna keep getting shut down. See, Matthew Lillard only got $5,000 for doing that movie.
Damn.
Yeah, they were like only on set for like a real little bit.
Yeah.
But they were in an attic, and they wanted to shut. Wes Craven was considered washed up by that point, so they wanted to pull the plug on him, and they fucking fired him supposedly. He found that in an attic in Florida when they were doing research for the movie. They found that Ghostface costume in the attic. And then he said, well, we'll use that. And when he showed them that, they were like, you're fired. They thought that wasn't going to work. Stupid, right? But anyways, that movie ended up making so much money.
Wow.
Then also, I know you've heard this, but you ever remember about Nightmare on Elm Street? You know, that's a true story, right? Yep. Do you know about that?
Oh, the like Japanese kids?
Yeah. Yes, that guy. So that guy like didn't sleep for like a whole year, and then all of a sudden he goes to the mental institution, gives him all his sleeping pills, and then so he never took them, he sewed them into his bed, and then they fucking finally tie him down and give him the pills, and he says, I'll die, because someone's trying to kill me in my dream, and he died when they gave him the pills.
Wasn't there some other kids who died too the same way, or his friends died, or is there?
No, it was just this guy.
Okay,
and Wes Craven was in China doing it on vacation. He read that story of that death.
Yeah.
It was didn't sleep for like a year.
Damn. And he died.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Those are people who died. They're all my friends. And they died.
That's from Basketball Diaries.
Mark Wahlberg, great job.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah.
Okay. We went through all of our talking points, I believe.
All right. Yeah, we're good.
And so before we close, I want to ask both of you, what's a movie recommendation? New, old,
man, we got the best. Both of us. I'll do it for both of us.
One apiece. What should we
watch
this
week?
week?
I'll tell you. So I think I can speak for Rebecca too, but we'll see on that. I don't want to speak for her, but Kill List by Ben Wheatley. and it's called Kill List, and it's a it got best European horror film like 2010, and I haven't seen any movies like other Blair Witch, some other ones that were really scary, like Halloween. Oh, that's what I meant when we were talking. That's that was one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen when he says Lindsay. That's what I meant. I kind of got off topic, but I was gonna say that yeah, Kill List is one of the scariest movies her and I have seen. And Ben Wheatley has went on to do like all these movies, and he does them with his wife, and his wife did the movie Descent.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, and she did Descent too. She's like the blind girl, but isn't Kill List badass?
Yeah, Kill List is good. It is. It's very dark though.
Oh man, it's just about these two hitmen that they get a list, and one of them gets injured in Kiev, and it's actually a list from the devil to do all this stuff, and they don't know that it's the devil, and it's fucked up. If you like The Wicker Man and that stuff, do you want to recommend one, Becca? I know you've seen some.
I'm stunted when people ask me questions like that. I don't even know what I watched last night. That movie I watched that you told me. But yeah, I don't know.
What Dark Knight? No, Becca, then you do got a couple one. Beck, did you finish Lift or no?
Lift.
Yeah, or a couple of them back that you watched. What about Psycho Ape? You watched that one?
Definitely Psycho Ape. Yes, watch Psycho Ape if you haven't.
Is that on Tubi?
I don't think it's on Tubi. Is it?
I don't know if it is streaming.
Yeah,
but you
Psycho
can get
Ape by
it. You can get it.
Bennett. Yes,
Detroit director.
Yes, you gotta watch that.
I'll watch that.
It's really good.
I
highly recommend
He's
that.
making the sequel to that one now.
Yes,
right?
he's doing
I follow
Psycho
him
Ape,
on
yes.
Instagram.
You should get him on your show.
I don't know if he follows me. But
He'll follow you. You know, I can get him on your show.
Yeah, watch Psycho
Addison.
Ape. I think you'll like it.
It's my dog.
Addison, I'll send you a message.
Yeah.
We'll see if you respond
Addison,
or just
I'm your
leave me on
manager,
read
Addison.
like everyone
He's
else
doing
does.
I'm getting a cut too, Addison. Fucking little bitch.
Well, thank you so much for coming down and hanging out with me and Dad and talking about your favorite movies and the movies you guys make. I'm a big fan. Can't wait to see the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
I'm
us.
a big fan.
I'll be looking forward to
Love you,
what
kids.
you guys do. Awesome.
Hey, one last thing I want to say before I leave. There's a lot of people behind what we do. So, Tim Jenkins, our whole crew. Love you.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Boom. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Oh,
Good night,
thank you
everyone.
guys.